Ladies and gentlemen, last year I talked about Dr. King and the moral authority that he had. In his letter from a Birmingham jail, we reflect on his words that no law of man that does not square with the law of God is just and moral. You know, what I'm so struck by as I always reflect on this day, how is Martin Luther King able to motivate so many people to stand in the face of beatings, jailings, dogs, clubs, gas? Think about that. One man, I think, was the power of God to bring about equality and opportunity that empowered him, but he had the force of the Almighty. And he was able to bring these crowds to make changes, to show the right face of America, the moral face of America, to the rest of Americans who may have been asleep. And he awakened them. One thing I know about, that I think that I know about Dr. King is he was a man of action, not just a man of words. And I think he called on all of us to be people of action. And I want to say a few things here this morning that represent some good news in our state. Ohio, which has been struggling for about a decade, is starting to come out of its sleep as well. Our unemployment has dropped in Ohio by the largest amount in 30 years, from 9.1 to 8.5, still too high, but moving in the right direction. And it's the lowest unemployment in 3 years. Now, number one in the Midwest in job growth, number 9th in the country. You know, our great state has the diversity, the power, the scale, the size, and the resources to emerge as one of the great states in America. Let me also tell you to that end, as we begin to see this economy improve, it is not good enough in Ohio for only those in the suburbs to realize the benefit of economic growth and prosperity. Too many of our children live in poverty in our state, and too many children live in poverty in our country. There's too much sadness in our families today. But as we move forward, it's critical that all people, everyone, no matter where they live, their color, their beliefs, have an opportunity at prosperity. And to that end, we have now received the commitment of 3 community colleges in the state of Ohio: Columbus State, Lorain County Community College, and Cincinnati State, to actively recruit and train our young minorities to come and get a degree, to be better trained, not just in the services we might normally think about as you enter college for basic skills, but also management skills. Because we want members of our minority community to advance to become managers in the state of Ohio and leaders in our country in the business profession. I would urge you to go to these 3 schools and think about sending your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors, or perhaps you yourself may want to attend. Secondly, Ohio has just received a $70 million early learning grant that is designated to take disadvantaged young people and give them an opportunity up to the age of 5 to prepare themselves for that first grade. Folks, this is a fantastic opportunity for the state of Ohio. A $70 million grant, and the Secretary of Education told me we had the 5th best application in the country. And that $70 million can be applied to effectively monitoring and making sure that our young people are prepared as they enter school so they can have an opportunity to put themselves in a position of leadership and success. Folks, about a year ago, I started to focus on sentencing reform. The fact that we were locking 12,000 people in our state prisons who were in prison for less than a year was unacceptable. Sentencing reform was necessary in Ohio. It was something that sat on the sidelines for 30 years. And it was not right that we looked the other way. And I instructed members of my administration, working with the legislature, to change sentencing reform and to give people a second chance and not lock up nonviolent criminals next to people who could be drug dealers, rapists, or murderers theoretically, and give them a chance to reclaim their lives. And that legislation passed on an overwhelming bipartisan vote in the Ohio legislature, and it was about time. But let me also tell you, we are now beginning to deal with the problem of collateral sanctions. 800 collateral sanctions against many people who were felons and people who had committed misdemeanors who deserve a second chance. Believe it or not, if you are convicted of a felony, when you come out of prison, even if you've been trained, you can't get a job cutting hair or a job driving a truck. That's not acceptable. I've convened a meeting of Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, and liberals, and I've said to them, believe in redemption. Dr. King believed in redemption. The Lord believes in redemption. Give people a second chance if they so desire to get their lives back and to contribute. And so we're in the process of dealing with this issue of collateral sanctions so that we can be a society that does believe that people can be valuable contributors to our society, even if they've made some mistakes. Secondly, on top of all of that, I've directed my administration to make sure that minority businesses are actively sought and recruited to be involved in providing goods and services to the people of the state of Ohio. It is not enough to just have lip service. We've got to measure it, and it's got to be accomplished. With the money that gets spent, there is no reason why there is not an active and aggressive campaign to make sure that our minority businesses have an opportunity to be successful by being able to provide the goods and services that we need in the state of Ohio. Folks, charter schools and vouchers for those that go to failing schools. We have now moved from 13,000 to 30,000 to 60,000 because every kid deserves a chance when mom and dad feel as though their education and their safety can be improved in an alternative school to have that choice. We believe, I personally believe, that it's one of the greatest civil rights issues in America today. There are a number of other things that we've done that we'll talk about over the next couple of weeks, but as I've told my administration, if you ignore the poor, the disabled, the people who are in trouble, the Lord will not smile upon you. We must pay attention to those that can't always stand up for themselves. I think that's in the great tradition of the man we honor today. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, it is about giving people hope and opportunity, isn't it? Give them a chance to live their God-given purpose and to use their God-given gifts. That is what it's all about. And to try to understand deep down what the Lord wants us to do. And when we do it, when we find it, when we understand it, that's satisfaction in life. And I know, in studying his life, that Dr. King used those gifts. He did not die in vain. And he's inspired millions of people across the globe to stand up, to believe in something, to have principle. And above all, give everyone an opportunity to live good lives. God bless you. Thank you. And let's enjoy this breakfast. Thank you.